Hello and welcome back. In this video we are drawing a manatee. For a manatee today we're going to start off with an oval. You can do a couple overlapping ovals until you get the one that you want, and you're going to do one more in front of it for the head. Now my head got a little bit long there, so I'm just going to readjust here. And that's why I do those overlapping ovals, so I can get it where I want my drawing to be. That overlapping oval is going to end up being the head, so we need to establish our tail. I'm going to use the first oval, extend it back, so I'm using that same line, extending it back, and on the bottom my tail is going to curve up and around a little bit more. From here I need to add my front flipper. That's going to be right where the head meets, curving around, and it's wider at the base, and then skinny it up as it reattaches to our body. We need our back tail. And remember, as you're working, you always want to draw lightly, so if you do need to erase, it's not a problem for you at all, because you're just blocking in your shapes at the moment and getting things where you want them to be. Alright, if I'm moving over and working on my head a little bit, I'm actually going to extend the top line from my oval and then go back and connect it to my body. I can start erasing some of the lines I'm not going to need, that are going to be visually distracting if I keep them. We're slowly establishing our form for our manatee. This is a little quicker one, because once you have the shapes, it's a lot of, or actually it's more of a little bit of shading. We're going to curl around, and then the front of the head is actually going to be flat because we're going to establish our mouth up here. And then our edge. Edge of your mouth is actually some wrinkles in the face. It's going to look a little bit like it's smiling, which is odd because it's also going to look a little bit like it's sleeping once you get to the point where we are totally finished. Manatees sleep a lot, if I'm remembering my aquatic beasts correctly. They are on the bottom of the ocean floor a lot and sleep a lot. So we're actually going to draw this on the bottom of the ocean floor. So my arch here got a little bit dramatic, so I'm going to soften that up and bring my manatee down just a hair. All right. From here, again, erasing some of the lines that I'm not going to need, that are just extras at this point. And we can get in some shading. I'm just going to shade with pencil this time around, and I already have established my mouth. I need to get my nostrils rocking. Those are going to be a couple little lines up front because he's going to be in my profile, or in profile. So seeing the side view. Gonna have some creases within our head to help give the dimension and showing those layered aspects. Don't forget about that second flipper, the one that's hiding behind on the other side. You want to at least block that in, give a hint of it being there to establish that, hey, I'm here. because it is, even if you can't see the whole thing. And I'm just getting some shading on the underside of the belly right now. Remember, when you're making a three-dimensional object, you want to have your shading on the bottom and come up, and always try to follow the shape of your object. So if something's a little bit different, you want to showcase that, and showcasing that within your shading is a good way to do it. So I'm just blocking in some values, and I'm using the side of my pencil to do this. Use the side of my pencil because it's got more lead on the side of the pencil, so I'm just able to cover a little bit more ground in a more efficient way. Alright, I'm going to use a blending stem for this one, soften up some of my edges, take away a little bit of that grainy aspect. This is also going to allow me to almost steal some of my graphite and bring it into areas, so I have a really soft value all the way around. It does take away some of my values from the places where I already put values, so you might need to go back in and just make them a little bit darker, but you can always add. It's easy to do. I'm just touching in some of my light values around here. I want my face to be a little lighter, but it's not pure white, so I'm just getting some darker values established as I work. Remember, this is something that you can always edit whenever you're working. You can always work and rework your drawings. I'm going to go in first with just a blending stump, block in some dark values for where my shadow is going to be, and then I will be defining that. Defining where my shadow is going to be is also going to help me define my manatee itself. So right now, just getting some shadowy aspects. Notice that all my lines for my shadow are all going horizontal. I'm doing that because it would be on the ground, so I don't want my lines shooting up into the sky because it's on the ground. Alright, then I'll go in, make this a little bit darker, probably go in, push my values a little hair more, a few different areas of the manatee, and then I am almost done. I'm going to go in one more time with my blending stump, just because we did get some of that grainy aspect when I went in once again with my pencil. So I'm just going to soften this up. I don't want so much attention to be drawn to my shadow. I want my focus to be more on my object, which is of course my manatee. On my edges, I'm going to just soften it out by doing a little bit of circular motion. If you don't want to use a blending stump or you don't have one, you can always just use your finger. But when you do that, of course, you're going to get graphite on your hand, so just be aware of that. If you don't have a blending stump and you don't like the graphite, you can always just grab a Q-tip. Will often work relatively well. So there are different options. Gotta be creative, and you'll be good to go. But we're almost done here, and we're gonna have a manatee. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure to click on that like button so I know that you were able to create it and do well. I'm going to do a couple last touches and be done. Thanks for watching.